Ladies and gentlemen, pain is the birthplace of greatness. Every sleepless night, every heartbreak, every failure you thought would break you. It was never there to destroy you. It was there to awaken you. The hunger inside you, that unrelenting fire to become more, doesn't come from comfort. It comes from pain. Pain is the spark that separates the ordinary from the unstoppable. So if you're hurting right now, don't run from it. Because the pain you're feeling today is shaping the power you'll become tomorrow, and hunger comes from pain. It's born in the fire of your struggle, in the sleepless nights, in the moments when you feel like the world has turned its back on you. It's that deep ache in your soul that refuses to die, no matter how many times life knocks you down. Pain isn't just something to endure. It's a messenger, a teacher, and for those who are awake enough to listen, it's the spark that ignites transformation. When everything seems to be falling apart, when the doors close, when the people you counted on disappear, that's when you meet your true self. That's when hunger is born, and there's a moment in every person's life when pain becomes unbearable. It's the point where you can't pretend anymore, where you can't smile your way through it, where you can't lie to yourself saying everything's fine. That's the threshold of change. Because real hunger doesn't come when things are easy, it comes when you've had enough, when you're sick of being average, tired of being broke, done feeling invisible, and ready to demand more from life. Hunger is the voice that says no more, no more excuses, no more waiting for the perfect time, no more blaming your past, and when you're in pain you have two choices, surrender or rise. Pain can destroy you or drive you. It all depends on what you decide to do with it. The difference between the person who quits and the person who breaks through isn't talent, luck, or opportunity. It's hunger. The kind of hunger that makes you get up when you've been knocked down. The kind of hunger that makes you work while others sleep. The kind of hunger that makes you believe when everyone else doubts you. That hunger doesn't come from comfort. It's born in the cold, in the rejection, in the loneliness, and every great success story began with pain. Every champion you've ever admired has walked through darkness you couldn't imagine. They didn't rise because life was fair to them. They rose because pain gave them no other option. Pain is life's way of demanding your attention. It asks, are you going to keep living small or are you going to grow? It's a test to see what you're made of. If you're willing to face it, if you're willing to use it, it will shape you into someone unstoppable. And you see, hunger doesn't live in the mind. It lives in the soul. It's emotional. It's primal. It's the deep roar inside you that says, I will not be denied. People who are hungry don't need to be motivated. They don't wait for the perfect plan or the perfect moment, they create it. They don't care how long it takes, how hard it gets, or how many times they fall. Hunger makes you resourceful. It makes you resilient. It makes you unstoppable. But most people run from pain. They numb it. They distract themselves. They scroll. They drink. They blame. They hide. And every time they do, they kill a little bit of their hunger. They quiet that voice inside that's begging for more. Because pain, as much as it hurts, is sacred. It's the birthplace of power. You can't grow without it. You can't evolve without it. Pain strips away the lies. It burns away the ego. It reveals who you really are. And think about the times in your life when you grew the most. It wasn't when everything was easy. It was when everything hurt. Maybe you lost someone. Maybe you failed at something you thought defined you. Maybe life hit you so hard you didn't even know how to stand again, but you did. You found strength you didn't know existed. You discovered a part of yourself that was waiting for that exact pain to wake it up. That's the gift pain gives to the hungry. It wakes them up to their potential. And when you're hungry, you stop making excuses. You stop caring about the opinions of others. You stop waiting for permission. You realize that no one's coming to save you. You realize that if your life is going to change, it's up to you. Pain taught you that because pain shows you what's real. It shows you the price of staying the same. It shows you that comfort is a slow death, and hunger is built in the moments when no one's watching. When you're tired, when you're scared, when the odds are against you, and you still move forward, that's hunger. When you fall short, but instead of quitting, you come back stronger, that's hunger. When you fail again and again, but you keep believing that something greater is waiting on the other side, that's hunger. And you've got to use your pain. Don't run from it, run through it. Don't let it break you. Let it build you. Every setback, every heartbreak, every betrayal, it's all raw material for greatness. If you learn to channel it, it becomes your fuel. Pain says, you can't. Hunger replies, watch me. And when life hurts, most people shrink, but the few who rise, the few who channel that pain into purpose, they become unstoppable forces. They turn suffering into strategy, they turn heartbreak into hunger, they turn pain into power, because when you've been through hell and made it out, you stop fearing failure. You stop fearing loss, you stop fearing opinions. Pain frees you from fear, it gives you clarity, it gives you focus. And you want to know why some people never make it. It's not because they don't have potential, it's because they've never felt enough pain to wake up their hunger. They've never hit that moment when they say, I can't live like this anymore. Pain is the gatekeeper of transformation. You can't unlock your potential without walking through it. And you might be in that place right now, confused, frustrated, exhausted. Maybe you've given everything and it still feels like nothing's changing. Maybe you're wondering if all this effort even matters. It does, because every ounce of pain you're feeling right now is shaping you, it's sharpening you, it's preparing you for what's coming next. The pain you're running from today will become the power you depend on tomorrow. And if you could see the version of yourself waiting on the other side of your pain, you'd never give up. That person is stronger, wiser, more grounded. That person doesn't just survive. They dominate, but you'll never meet that version of yourself if you keep avoiding discomfort. Growth and comfort cannot coexist. You've got to choose one, and hunger isn't about wanting, it's about needing. It's not a wish, it's a must. When something becomes a must, your mind finds a way. Pain turns your wants into musts. It transforms I should into I will. That shift changes everything. When you're hungry enough, you stop negotiating with your goals. You stop hesitating, you stop overthinking, you start executing, and so don't curse your pain, don't hide from it. Respect it, let it sharpen you, let it teach you, because pain is not your enemy, it's your edge, it's your advantage. It's your reminder that you are still alive, still capable, still destined for more. Hunger comes from pain, but that hunger, once it's awakened, can take you anywhere you want to go. And when that hunger takes hold of you, something inside shifts forever. You stop waiting for the world to give you permission, because you finally realize that no one is coming to hand you your destiny. You have to claim it, you have to fight for it, you have to be willing to go through whatever it takes to earn it. Hunger doesn't negotiate, it demands. It's the fire that consumes hesitation, burns through fear, and replaces uncertainty with drive. When you become truly hungry, comfort loses its grip on you. You stop needing validation, you stop craving approval. You begin to understand that the only thing that matters is progress. And that's when you start doing what others refuse to do. While they're waiting for motivation, you're already in motion. While they're doubting themselves, you're stacking small wins. You stop measuring your worth by how far you've come and start measuring it by how much further you're willing to go. Because hunger doesn't care about how hard it is, it only asks, how bad do you want it? And you see, life doesn't reward the ones who want it the most, it rewards the ones who refuse to stop. Hunger is relentless, it doesn't take days off. It doesn't rest because it knows that every second you waste, someone else out there is pushing harder, climbing faster, dreaming bigger. That awareness, that someone else is hungrier, forces you to dig deeper, not to compete with them, but to compete with who you were yesterday. That's the battle The real enemy is not the world, it's your comfort zone, and pain gives you a choice. To use it as an excuse or to use it as energy. When you channel it into purpose, it becomes unstoppable fuel. Every moment you thought was breaking you is actually building something inside you. Every disappointment was preparing you for a breakthrough. Every tear, every loss, every lonely night they were chiseling away the weakness, carving out the hunger that would one day make you unstoppable. But here's the truth, most people don't want to face pain. Never leaves you completely. It becomes part of you. It becomes the shadow that walks beside you, the whisper that reminds you where you came from, the echo that says, keep going. The strongest people aren't the ones who have avoided pain. They're the ones who have embraced it, learned from it, and turned it into purpose. They've looked their pain in the eye and said, you will not define me, you will refine me. And when you understand that, everything changes. You stop fearing failure because you know failure is just another form of pain, and pain is where you grow. You stop fearing judgment because you realize no one else can feel your hunger like you can. You stop doubting yourself because pain already showed you that you're capable of surviving more than you thought. That's what makes hunger powerful. It transforms pain into proof. Proof that you can rise again. Proof that you're not done yet. And people talk about success like it's some magical destination. But hunger doesn't care about destinations, it's about the journey. It's about the climb, the sweat, the grind, the moments when no one claps for you. It's about showing up when the world forgets you. It's about building a foundation in silence so that when your moment comes, you're ready for it. Pain sharpens that readiness. Hunger keeps it alive, and you don't need perfect conditions to change your life. You just need a reason strong enough to fight through the imperfect ones. Pain gives you that reason. When you're backed into a corner, when you've lost everything you thought you needed, when all you have left is willpower, that's when hunger becomes your weapon. You start fighting with a different energy. You stop hoping and start demanding. You stop asking for opportunities and start creating them. That's what hunger does. It flips the switch from survival to dominance. And once you taste that feeling, once you experience the power of transforming pain into momentum, you'll never want to go back. Because hunger gives you identity, it gives you purpose, it reminds you that you are meant for more. The world may doubt you, the world may overlook you, but hunger doesn't care. Hunger whispers, keep going. It reminds you that greatness doesn't live in the spotlight, it's born in the shadows of struggle, and you have to understand something. Pain is not a punishment. It's preparation. The universe doesn't test the weak, it refines the strong. Every time you've asked, why me? The real question was, why not me? Maybe you were chosen to go through that pain so you could become the person who can handle what's coming next. Maybe your suffering wasn't meant to destroy you, but to introduce you to the part of yourself that can handle greatness. And hunger doesn't just change how you act, it changes who you are. It makes you resourceful. When you're hungry, you stop focusing on what you don't have and start using what you do. You find a way because you have to. You stop saying I can't and start saying I must. And that shift from wishing to deciding is where power begins. Because the moment something becomes a must, your mind stops negotiating and starts finding solutions. And look around you. Every person you admire, every story that inspires you, every legacy that changed the world, they all started with pain. The hunger they built didn't come from comfort, it came from loss, rejection, failure, and fear. What separates them from the rest isn't that they had less pain, but that they refused to waste it. They turned it into purpose, they turned it into action, they let the fire burn long enough to forge something indestructible. And so when pain comes, and it will, don't run from it, sit with it, listen to what it's trying to tell you. Maybe it's not trying to hurt you, maybe it's trying to wake you up. Maybe it's showing you that you've settled for too little, accepted too little, believed too little. Maybe it's pushing you to evolve, because growth never comes from what's easy, it comes from what hurts. And when you're hungry, every setback becomes a setup, every failure becomes a lesson, every obstacle becomes an opportunity to get stronger. You stop fearing challenges because you realize they're the training ground for greatness. Pain becomes your personal trainer. It breaks you down just enough to rebuild you stronger. And the hunger that rises from that process, that's the kind that never dies. And there will be days when you question yourself, when the weight of everything feels unbearable. Those are the days when you must remember where your hunger was born. It came from pain. It came from the moments you thought you couldn't go on but did anyway. It came from the fire that tried to consume you but instead forged you. That hunger is proof that you can endure, proof that you are evolving, proof that you are still in the fight. And the most powerful thing about hunger is that it never truly goes away. Even after you succeed, even after you reach the goals you once dreamed of, that hunger stays. Because once pain has taught you what you're capable of, you can never go back to pretending you're less than that. You crave the next level, you crave the next challenge, you crave growth because growth is life and pain gave you hunger. Hunger gave you direction, and now you have a choice, to feed it or to ignore it, to rise or to retreat. Every day, life is testing your answer. Every morning when you wake up, you decide what story you'll live. Will it be the story of someone who ran from pain, or someone who turned pain into power? And the ones who change their lives, who change the world, don't have easier paths, they just have deeper hunger. They've learned to thank their pain, to respect it, to use it, because without pain, there's no drive. Without drive, there's no growth. Without growth, there's no fulfillment. Hunger is not something you find, it's something you build, one painful moment at a time. And every time you rise again, you add another layer of strength to your soul, and so keep walking through the fire. Keep pushing forward. Let your scars remind you not of what broke you, but of what built you, because hunger doesn't come from comfort, it comes from pain. And once it's awakened, it becomes the force that transforms everything you touch. And because once that fire is lit inside you, it doesn't fade, it grows. It grows with every obstacle, every disappointment, every challenge that tries to stop you. Hunger isn't a feeling that passes, it's a force that stays. It becomes your companion through the highs and the lows, through success and failure, through applause and silence. And the truth is, once you've tasted that hunger, you can't go back to being the person who settles for less. Comfort feels like poison, mediocrity feels like death. You start to crave the struggle because you know the struggle is where you come alive. And you begin to see pain differently. What used to feel like punishment now feels like preparation. The people who doubted you, the ones who walked away, the failures that embarrassed you, they were all carving something powerful within you. They were forcing you to grow in ways you never would have chosen but always needed. Pain doesn't just make you stronger, it makes you real. It strips away everything false and reveals the essence of who you are. The fighter, the believer, the creator, the unstoppable soul that refuses to die. And when you look back at your life, you'll see a pattern. Every major turning point came right after deep pain. That heartbreak that crushed you, it taught you self-worth. That failure that humiliated you, it gave you resilience. That loss that broke your heart, it gave you perspective. Pain is the architect of greatness. It builds character in ways comfort never could. Hunger feeds on that pain, transforming it into focus, into fire, into fuel that cannot be manufactured any other way. And you see, the reason most people never reach their full potential isn't because they lack resources. It's because they've never learned to use their pain. They run from it, avoid it, or deny it. But the ones who rise, the ones who lead, the ones who inspire, they run toward it. They face the storm, they walk through it, and they let it change them. Because they understand that every storm leaves a lesson behind. Hunger comes from those lessons. Hunger comes from the decision to stand in the fire until it forges you into something unbreakable. And there's something powerful that happens when you realize your pain was never meant to punish you, but to prepare you. Suddenly, your past stops being a burden and becomes a weapon. Everything that hurt you becomes a reason to rise higher. Every rejection becomes a reason to get sharper. Every betrayal becomes a reason to love yourself deeper. Hunger transforms pain into purpose. It gives your suffering meaning. Without that meaning, pain breaks you. With it, pain builds you, and when you're hungry, you don't wait for opportunities, you create them. You don't wait for inspiration, you manufacture it. You don't wait for motivation, you act, because you've learned that action cures everything. Pain taught you that sitting still only makes the wound deeper, but movement, that's what heals. Movement is life. And when you move with hunger, every step has purpose, every breath has intention. You stop drifting through life and start driving through it. And the world respects hunger. It recognizes it even before you speak. There's an energy that surrounds someone who's been through hell and refuses to stay there. You can see it in their eyes, hear it in their voice, feel it in their presence. That energy can't be faked. It can't be borrowed. It can't be inherited. It can only be earned through pain. That's why when you meet someone truly hungry, you know it instantly. They've fought battles you'll never see, and they've turned every scar into strength. And hunger isn't glamorous, it's gritty, it's lonely. It's built in the moments when you're grinding in silence, when no one's cheering you on, when your body's tired and your mind's screaming to quit. But you keep going anyway. Hunger doesn't need applause. Hunger doesn't need recognition. Hunger lives on discipline. It feeds on faith. It grows every time you choose to keep moving when no one's watching. That's where transformation happens, not in the spotlight, but in the shadows of consistency. And when you truly understand hunger, you realize it's not just about achievement, it's about becoming. It's about evolving into the version of yourself that pain has been calling forth. Every challenge, every loss, every hardship, it was all designed to shape you into the person capable of carrying the dream that once felt too big for you. Pain stretches your capacity. It makes you capable of handling blessings without breaking. Hunger keeps you humble enough to keep growing. And think about this. If life gave you everything you wanted without resistance, you'd never develop the strength to hold it. It's like giving a sword to someone who's never trained. It's not a gift, it's a danger. But when you've gone through pain, when you've fought through darkness, when you've bled for your growth, you've earned the right to wield power. You've earned the right to lead, to inspire, to succeed. Hunger gives you that right because it's proof that you've been tested and didn't quit. And you start to see failure differently. You stop seeing it as something to fear and start seeing it as feedback. Every time you fail, it's life saying you're not done learning yet. And hunger loves that message. Hunger thrives on growth. It doesn't crave perfection. It craves progress. It's not about how many times you fall. It's about how many times you get back up. Every comeback story was written in the ink of pain and hunger. And hunger gives you a reason to wake up when your body begs for rest. It gives you courage when fear whispers in your ear. It gives you patience when the results take longer than expected. It gives you hope when everything around you says it's over. Hunger makes you see possibilities where others see problems. It makes you see opportunity in adversity. It makes you unstoppable because it rewires your relationship with pain. You stop avoiding it and start using it as fuel. And every time life tests you, remember, it's not trying to break you, it's trying to build you. It's asking, are you hungry enough? Because hunger doesn't give up at the first sign of resistance. It doesn't quit when things get uncomfortable. Hunger sees discomfort as a signal that it's getting closer to greatness. Every rep, every struggle, every moment of uncertainty, it's all adding to your strength. Hunger understands that growth doesn't happen in ease, it happens in resistance. And there will be days when you'll want to quit, when the vision feels too far, when the pain feels too much. Those are the days that separate the dreamers from the doers. The ones who push through, who use their pain as momentum, they're the ones who rise. Hunger isn't about talent, it's about tenacity. It's about staying committed long after the excitement fades. It's about building yourself when no one believes, trusting yourself when everything's uncertain, and pushing yourself when nothing seems to work. And as you walk this path, pain will still come. New levels bring new challenges, but this time you'll face it differently. You'll face it with awareness. You'll know that every pain you feel is refining you again, sharpening you again, preparing you for something even greater. Hunger turns pain into a lifelong ally. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you'll start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" And that question changes everything. And that's the moment you transcend pain. You stop fighting against it and start flowing with it. You start realizing that your story, the one filled with struggle, loss, doubt, and pain, is exactly what gives your journey meaning. Hunger makes you proud of the scars. It makes you grateful for the pain because without it, you'd never have found the strength that now defines you. And so, every time you feel pain rising again, remember, it's not the end of something, it's the beginning of hunger being reborn. It's your soul reminding you that you're meant for more. It's your spirit waking you up saying, "You're not done yet." And when you embrace that, when you stop running from it, you'll discover a power inside you that no setback can destroy, no failure can erase, no fear can silence. Hunger will keep burning, and as long as it burns, you'll keep rising. And the moment you realize that hunger is not a phase but a way of life, everything inside you begins to align. You stop chasing quick wins and start building lasting greatness. You stop searching for shortcuts and start trusting the process. You understand that real transformation doesn't happen overnight. It happens through consistency, through pain, through discipline repeated day after day when no one's watching. Hunger doesn't crave instant gratification. It feeds on the grind, on the repetition, on the mastery of doing hard things long enough to become excellent at them. And when you're truly hungry, the excuses that once held you back start losing their power. You stop saying, "I'll try," and start saying, "I must." You stop saying, "Maybe someday," and start saying, "Today." Hunger replaces hesitation with conviction. It turns fear into focus. It transforms doubt into determination. You begin to see that the walls you thought were holding you back were never real. They were built by your own limits, and now you've got the fire to break them down. And pain built that fire. Pain reminded you that nothing changes until you decide it must. And when you decide, really decide, you move differently. You think differently. You breathe differently. You start approaching life with a sense of urgency because you know what it feels like to lose, to hurt, to be left behind. Hunger gives you perspective. It reminds you that time is not promised, that every moment matters, that every day wasted in comfort is a day stolen from your destiny. And when you're hungry, you stop being afraid of failure because you realize failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the foundation of it. Every mistake you've made, every rejection you've endured, every door that's slammed in your face has been guiding you toward who you were meant to become. The pain you feel when you fail is not the end, it's feedback. It's life saying, "Not yet, keep going." Hunger thrives on that message. Hunger takes that sting of failure and turns it into the fuel that drives you to come back stronger, faster, better. And people who are truly hungry don't dwell on the past. They learn from it, thank it, and move forward. They don't let guilt or regret chain them to what's behind. They understand that pain only has power when you let it hold you still. But when you move, when you use that pain as propulsion, it loses its grip. The past becomes your teacher, not your jailer. Hunger sets you free from the prison of what if, and launches you into the power of what's next. And there will be moments when you'll be tested so deeply that even hunger feels like it's fading. The weight will get heavy, the road will get lonely, and your progress will feel invisible. That's when most people give up. But the ones who don't, the ones who understand what hunger really means, they dig deeper. They remember where their fire came from. They remember the pain that birthed it. They remember that every season of struggle has an expiration date. They keep moving because they know that hunger doesn't need evidence to keep going. It just needs purpose. And purpose is born from pain. The moments that hurt you most often reveal what you care about most. The pain of being overlooked might awaken your desire to lead. The pain of losing might awaken your drive to win. The pain of feeling unseen might awaken your purpose to serve. Pain doesn't just create hunger, it reveals direction. It points you toward the areas of life that demand your focus. And once you discover that direction, once you align your hunger with purpose, you become unstoppable. Because a person with purpose and hunger cannot be broken. And when you combine hunger with gratitude, you reach a new level of strength. You stop resenting your pain and start respecting it. You stop cursing your struggle and start thanking it. Gratitude doesn't make you soft, it makes you powerful. It grounds your hunger. It keeps your fire from consuming you. When you're grateful for the pain that made you hungry, you carry peace in the storm. You walk through chaos with confidence because you understand that everything, every setback, every failure, every wound was serving you. And hunger transforms you from a victim into a creator. You stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start declaring, "This happened for me." You start shaping your pain into purpose, your setbacks into strategies, your wounds into wisdom. That's when life starts responding to you differently. Opportunities begin to appear where before there were only obstacles. People start noticing your energy because hunger radiates. It attracts, it inspires, it commands respect without a word being spoken. But hunger isn't just about achieving goals, it's about becoming more. It's about expanding who you are until you no longer fit inside the limitations you once accepted. Pain cracks the shell, hunger pushes you through it, and on the other side is a version of you that can handle far more than you ever thought possible. The kind of person who can walk into chaos and create order, who can face fear and turn it into action, who can take pain and turn it into progress. That's what hunger does. It evolves you, and when the world tells you it's over, hunger says it's just beginning. When they say you're not enough, hunger says, "Watch me." When they doubt your dreams, hunger whispers, "You don't need their belief, you just need your vision." Hunger doesn't wait for validation, it creates its own momentum. You stop needing people to understand your journey because you know they weren't meant to. It's your fire, it's your fight, it's your story, and your pain gave it to you for a reason, and you begin to see that pain wasn't random, it was strategic. Life was never trying to break you, it was trying to build you. The moments that hurt the most were designed to strip away your excuses, to expose your potential, to wake you up. The rejections were redirections, the failures were lessons, the heartbreaks were recalibrations. Every ounce of pain was working behind the scenes to awaken your hunger. Without it, you might never have known how strong you could be. And when you start operating from hunger, you stop living by emotion and start living by commitment. You stop waiting to feel ready and start moving even when you're scared. You stop waiting for motivation and start relying on discipline. Hunger doesn't depend on how you feel, it depends on what you've decided. You decide who you are, you decide what you stand for. You decide how far you're willing to go, and that decision made in the middle of pain is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. And pain refines your vision, hunger sharpens your focus. Together, they turn you into a force of nature. You stop looking for comfort and start seeking challenge. You start seeing resistance not as a threat but as a training ground. You stop being intimidated by the mountain because hunger has already convinced you that you were built to climb. And when you climb long enough, you begin to realize that success isn't just reaching the top. It's becoming the kind of person who never stops climbing. And every time you overcome a new layer of pain, hunger rewards you with more clarity, more strength, more belief. You start to understand that this journey isn't about chasing external rewards. It's about mastering yourself. Hunger doesn't just want success, it wants evolution. It wants to see how far you can go, how deeply you can grow, how much purpose you can extract from your pain. And when that hunger becomes your identity, you'll move through life with a calm intensity. You won't need to prove yourself, you'll just be yourself. The world will feel your conviction, your presence will speak before your words do, because pain may have started your hunger, but now hunger has become your power. It's the force that keeps you growing, the fire that keeps you alive, the heartbeat that refuses to quit. And as long as it burns, nothing and no one can stop you.